I'm Tori.
I'm Naomi.
I'm Carol.
And we're Pocket Knife.
Mm-hmm.
I drive my daddy's old beaten down custom blue love. Side of everyone I've driven, it's my favorite truck. Some folks say I ain't got the best luck, but I think that this will be the year to bag me a buck. I spend the better part of my day walking across town. Don't be alarmed if I am wearing a frown. You see, my baby, though he loves me, he's just never around. But I'm careful in my crying that I don't make a sound. You see, I'm trying to heal my broken heart. I'm crying, it's tearing me apart. Got a whiff in the air, something that shouldn't be. There's a fear in my belly that's been eating at me. Papa always said to only shoot what you see, but I'm planning on making that poor fella bleed. You see, I'm trying to heal my broken heart. I'm crying, it's tearing me apart. So Mom, tell Dad there's a message from me. You better loan me up some bullets for my 243. There's a long rope hanging from the old spruce tree. Please don't let Papa know the rope is for me. You see, I'm trying to heal my broken heart. I'm crying, it's tearing me apart. I'm trying to heal my broken heart. I'm crying, it's tearing me apart.
Pocket Knife is from Victoria, BC, St. John's, Newfoundland, and Saskatoon. But Naomi and I both grew up in Prince George, BC. Yeah.
And Carol and I met in St. John's, going to music school.
We're far flung, the three of us.
What were some of the motivations behind starting up the band?
Well, me and Tori met, we knew each other from high school, but we both wound up being in Victoria around the same time. And I'd just gotten back from being on tour and was totally broke. And Tori had just had this horrible breakup. And I needed to do something
that bad.
to keep her time occupied from sulking too much, among other things. So we started writing music together and busking. And from there, we just sort of wound up with a bit of a catalog of songs and decided to record them. And then we came back together after being a little bit apart to go on this tour.
And that's when I joined in.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, you play folk music too? Great, let's play. And then I joined for the tour.
And how long have you been together?
Well, the band started in 2010 in the fall. And then we recorded in 2011. So I guess we've been a band off and on really for 3 years now, almost. But it's been off and on just because we've been the distance thing. Because Tori lives in Victoria and I live in St. John's.
What are your favorite kinds of songs to play? Covers, originals?
There's some originals that I love. There's some originals that I'm less amped on, and there's some traditionals and covers that I absolutely love to play.
I think the distinction between covers and originals isn't really the distinction I would make in terms of favorites. I think there's songs that sort of speak to something transcendent in terms of what can be communicated. So one of my favorite songs to sing is Trouble in Mind.
Same
just
here.
because I feel like it's so easy to relate to.
It's so simple, yeah.
And I think it's the relatability in the music that I like. So we have original songs that are like that as well.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say they're the same caliber because Trouble in Mind is probably one of my favorite songs that's ever been written.
It's incredible.
But
I think that's it though, is there's a simplicity to our music that I really like because it's it's kind of the same with like what's our message is we're kind of it's like it's because they're simple they can be about anything sometimes, you know, it's really
like,
good that way.
Yeah, there's so many songs where like you can hear a lyric that who knows what the author was referencing, but it'll take you to a certain place or make you relate to a certain emotion or a certain, you know, situation that you've been in. And I really hope that when we write songs about, you know, we write silly songs, let's be realistic, but it'd be nice if our silly songs could relate to something that you can also kind of understand or get behind or like smile about or also feel a little nostalgic about.
Totally.
So I think the main idea is like I like singing songs that communicate.
Yeah.
In a really broad way, but not like a mainstream Broadway because we're not Mumford and Sons.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. But yeah, just something that actually has like just something that really reaches people.
Yeah.
And like I feel like if we hear a song that touches us and we sing it, that hopefully it has the same effect.
Totally.
So like I guess that's my favorite kind of song to sing.
And it's like, yeah, like we write songs that are kind of very specific kind of to us, like driving trucks and like going down logging roads and
drinking beer
and stuff like that. But it's like, it is this like, people know, I guess what we're actually singing about is like, yeah, nostalgia and home and like having fun and things we like to do and stuff. And so that's like, that's easy enough to relate to.
Yeah.
Trouble my
having a very good like shredding platform for the fiddler is like absolutely
paramount.
essential.
Paramount.
That's the
Trouble
thing.
in mind.
Sometimes I'll just like last night at our show, we were like, we put the solo too soon in the song, and then
So it was just like, we'll just do another one.
yeah, we came up to the part where the solo was supposed to go, and Carol was kind of like, oh, like, and I was like, yeah, no, yeah, you're soloing. I want to hear that again.
Do you work with any other musicians?
In this group, Carol's a new addition. It started, it was just Tori and I.
Yep.
We worked with Mac Shields for a while, who we met busking in Victoria, but we only played a couple shows with him and busked for a while. But like in this outfit, this is like it.
Which is pretty much
We're just a tight little unit of 3 people. So.
Oh, we had Corbin that one time on our
Oh yeah,
album.
we what did Corbin? Oh yeah, we had a friend play
accordion.
accordion on our EP.
That was fun.
And then it was like my boyfriend at the time helped engineer it. But other than that, like we try to keep it like pretty simple.
It's not hard.
It can get complicated with a lot of members and that sort of thing. So especially if we added any more people, they'd probably be from like, I don't know, Alabama or something stupid just to make it more difficult.
We need someone up north. We need someone from further up north.
Like
than we are.
Tuktoyaktuk.
Yeah, totally.
We really need a bass player from there.
Exactly.
So they can have the hardest possible time carrying their friggin' instrument down to wherever we're touring to.
And it better be a double bass. Yeah.
That's right.
Rent one.
Never.
Can you tell us a bit about your experience with busking?
Yeah. Well, busking was awesome because it's like we like Naomi said, we did it a lot to pay for groceries and stuff like that. But
Or rent in my case.
yeah. In Victoria, it's awesome though because I think we kind of came at it a bit late. We started busking the first time in like September so the tourist season was kind of winding down.
It was like the tail end of all the cruise ships coming in sort of thing.
But it kind of like it was we made a lot of money. It was really good.
Busking is a really interesting performance form though because I mean being like Tori's performed as a dancer and doing musical theater. Carol and I are both classically trained musicians and we also gig a lot in St. John's and otherwise. So Carol and I also busk in St. John's and there's been many cities in Canada that I've been with another bands busking. And it's such an interesting performance medium because the way you interact with the audience is very different than you would in a concert hall, for example, or in a venue where you can, the audience is there to see you specifically. Like it's a very unique type of performance art, which I think gives us a kind of unique style of stage presence because we're not used to having a listening audience. We're usually kind of like trying to grab attention. And so we come with our banter and with the stage antics and that sort of thing. It's influenced the way that we draw people in a very unique way.
Busking is so fun for me, I think, because it's like really entertaining, but then it can be really boring, and it's so good to have other people there with you.
It's a lonely art. Busking alone is very difficult.
But when you got someone
very
there,
difficult.
like, you're doing the same thing, you kind of play the same songs over and over, and then like my funniest memory, I remember like Naomi would whistle at people walking by.
Catcall girls who are like being snitty to us, like
you get
ladies.
kind of bored, and then you start like kind of messing with people. It's a lot of fun.
Government Street in particular is a weird busking environment too because there's a lot of buskers, and so the competition is kind of there. Like the weirdest thing, me and Carol's best busking experience has been
outside of a grocery store.
Yeah, outside of like a Sobeys, which is kind of like Thrifties in Victoria, like playing in a parking lot. And we've made so much money and people are so happy to see us, but it's like we're playing in a parking lot against a wall, like and that's what busking's kind of about, I guess, is like you're taking these weird situations and making the best of it and bringing music to places that you normally like, recontextualizing the music that you're playing, which I think is a really beautiful thing in a lot of ways.
It's a really awesome way to meet people too.
Yeah,
it's like because you're standing there on the street singing, of course, like you're inviting people to interact with you.
It's a great way to meet homeless people.
It's a great way to meet it. A lot of people, and really weird people, really cool people, really the kids. Oh my gosh, kids
children
are so funny.
Yeah, it's
So
funny because I don't really interact. We never really interact with children because we mostly play in bars. So busking is like the biggest time we actually interact.
They come and like dance for you.
Oh, they get so excited.
It's the best.
Oh, it's pretty funny.
You're on tour right now. Where have you been and how's that going?
We've been to Vancouver.
Well, the tour just started.
Yeah.
It was a big trip because I flew in from St. John's about 5-6 days ago. And Carol came from Winnipeg, where she was doing a Suzuki camp. And so we met Tori in Vancouver. We played 3 shows so far, and it's been going Going really good. It's been nice because we've been playing with friends and playing for friends. So, like, it's been a really great way to kick off a tour. Because I've had tours where you've started playing with, like, really, really bad venues and, like, horrible crowds. And it's really hard to feel momentum getting going. Whereas with this, like, I feel like we've gotten off on a really great foot.
Yeah.
Like,
and
immediately.
It's just getting better. I feel like it's, like, we're just kind of getting moving. It feels nice.
We haven't
to be
traveled
back.
far either, too, which is kind of weird. Because I'm used to, like, covering a lot of ground in the first parts of a tour, and here we've spent, like, 2 days in Vancouver. This is our second day in Victoria.
But we're kind of home, so it feels like it hasn't really started yet.
And it's, like, it's a big nostalgia kick for me, because I'm from here. I've been away for so long.
Yeah.
And then for you, it's, like, a big tourist thing, because you had never spent much time in Vancouver.
Yeah. I'm really excited to get, like, I feel like this is, like, our first little chunk of the tour. We're almost coming to an end.
Yeah.
And then the next part is going to be just a blast. I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
Oh, it's going to be great. And we have, like, a kind of a second homecoming, too. Because
Totally.
we're going to Prince George soon.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal for us, because that was such an important part of the influence in our music. And how the people that we came from growing up in Prince George. And
Completely.
the interactions we had there and that sort of thing. So going home to get to play a show was, like, it's a big privilege, but it's also a huge thing to look forward to. Like, we're really excited.
So fun, too. Like, going back to Prince George and playing is just so, it's really rewarding because everybody's so excited to see us. And
like people you haven't seen in years come out.
Yeah.
And, like, high school teachers and, like, you know, people that
and,
you
like, your
expect.
mom's friends. And, like, it's so fun. It's just...
Oh, it's great.
How many shows are you playing on the tour?
I think roughly 20.
And how far are you going with
We're
that?
going as far east as Winnipeg, and then ending the tour off in Vancouver again.
I'm excited.
Where do you get ideas for your music?
I think we get a lot of ideas from, like I was saying, like, upbringing in Prince George. And I try to draw from playing into, you know, stereotypes and, you know, female singer-songwriter, country western music stuff. So, like, kind of having fun with it. And not worrying about, like, cliches and that sort of thing. Because I think if you draw into it, I mean, it makes them okay.
Yeah, totally. I agree. Our music is full of cliches, like crying into your beer mug and, like, you know, killing your man what done you wrong.
And
I've never done
super,
that.
And it's super tongue-in-cheek, of course, but I think it's like, if we took it too seriously lyrically, like,
it wouldn't be fun.
it wouldn't be fair to ourselves because we don't take ourselves that
No,
seriously.
I think that's like the appeal with Naomi and I, is we're kind of rough around the edges and we embrace it. And, you know, Prince George has this total, like, stereotype of being this, like, ultra rough and tumble town, and, like, people from Prince George are so badass, and which is, I don't know.
There's definitely a stigma of, like, simplicity, though, too, that comes from that like, we're probably uneducated and all these things, and, like, I mean, Tori just finished her degree in anthropology, and, like, I almost have my classical music degree. Carol has her master's degree in violin performance. So, like, everything we're doing is very deliberate. You know? Like, it's simple, but I mean, it's calculated at the same time, which is, it's fun. It's fun to write simple music like that.
I was just gonna say, at the end of the day, it's just really fun.
I think that's the biggest motivation, is we had fun playing together, and when it comes to writing, it's like, if this is going to be something we'll have fun singing about or have fun playing, then that's an accomplishment. So. Yeah.
It's awesome too because, like, growing up in Prince George, like, I didn't really enjoy my time there when I was a teenager. I couldn't.
I think until I was like 20, I thought it was the worst place in the world, and then
all
I
of a
actually went to
sudden,
Toronto for the first time. I was like, this is a hellhole.
Well, for me, it's like, as soon as I left, I was like, okay, cool, like, seeing the world, doing other things, and then, but I got not homesick. I just appreciated what that place had made me. I guess it really, Prince George, like, I would not be who I am if I hadn't come from Prince George.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I'm sure, like, you have a similar experience coming from a small town in the
I
prairies.
grew up in rural Saskatchewan, so it was very similar. Place makes you where you are.
Definitely.
I guess the geography in our music is a really important thing too. I don't know if I'm, like, going too much of a tangent from your question, but, like, because we put a lot of geographic references in our music, and I think that that's a really important thing, especially when it comes to, like, country music, because, like, the sense of nostalgia is such a prominent sort of theme that comes through, especially in old time music, and this idea of going home and home being a really important place where you can feel secure, or where,
like, comfort and stuff
or even, like, it's in a lot of the religious music, whenever they sing about, like, going to heaven, or, you know, finally going to be with the Father and all these things, or crossing Jordan and being at peace, I always think about just going home.
Where can we find your music online? Well,
we have a Facebook page that will link to some of our YouTube videos. and also to our Bandcamp account, which is pocket-knife.bandcamp.com.
Is there a message you'd like to give to your listeners?
Not what I want my mom to hear.